So my next coffee chat is with a fellow partner from the WiT Travel Roadshow, without whom we would not have been able to stage this experience as well. And it's good to be back home with Maunik Thacker, Senior Vice President Marketing, Marina Bay Sands. Maunik. Good to see you, looking so smart. During the roadshow, we were both kind of,
relaxed, chilled out. Yeah.
And now we've grown up. Okay, it's a physical event. So Maunik, tell me how this pandemic has changed the way you think as a marketeer.
Hoon, this is it's not business as usual anymore. The world has completely changed. It's turned upside down for everyone, and it's also turned upside down for our team members. It's also for our guests, and it's really about it's changed the way we all think. So first and foremost, as a leader, not just a marketer, the goal was to focus on my team, and it all actually started with our former chairman, who made it so much easier for us. As the pandemic hit, and we had to sort of shut the property, he actually came out and said, look, there's going to be no staff cuts, there's no furloughs, no benefit cuts or no pay cuts, nothing of that sort. That gave a lot of confidence to all of us. And it kind of was a huge motivator for everybody. And it rubbed off. It rubbed off on the leadership. So I think that allowed me to engage a lot more with the team. It sort of, just about checking in on the team from time to time, made it so much better, so much nicer for them. At that time, it was really about just saying, "Are you okay?" And that made such a big difference. Similarly, for our guests, their mindset has changed. Their thinking has changed, and so the way they are looking to consume travel next is very different to the way it was pre-pandemic. For them, for our customers, it's really about experiences now and meaningful experiences. So as a marketer, really that's kind of what we're focused on, is ensuring that we can create meaningful trips, meaningful experiences for them. And the beauty of this is that our brand proposition that we've been working on really ties in very, very well to this, because we've given our team members a single-minded purpose of creating unforgettable memories. And if you can create those experiences for our guests, for our team members first, they'll do it for the guests. Okay. That's kind of what we get out.
So you gave them security first, you gave them security, then you gave them leadership, and then you gave them empowerment to say, go and create amazing experiences. So, but how have you survived this? Because you got 2,000 rooms here, right? And you were always quite good with staycations. You always had a good staycations market here, right, Maunik?
Yeah.
So what did you do to dial it up with the staycations? Because you're full. I mean, I'm staying here and it's full.
Yeah, I think with borders still largely closed, we have been very much a locals market. But it's not new to us necessarily, because Singapore, even pre-pandemic, has been our third largest market. From the hotel's perspective, we have a lot of the locals visiting the restaurants, the shops. So it isn't really new business for us. But I think what's important for the Singapore market is the need for constant change and new experiences. And we've always believed in refreshing our offerings ever since we've opened. So we have added on new boutiques in the mall, new F&B concepts, over the last 20 months, and new sort of experiences upcoming. And in fact, the entertainment as well as the MICE business, the convention center here itself, they have constantly been working on reinventing.
Right.
So that has really helped in driving more and more people to keep coming back. Obviously having.
And did you say that Singapore is like the third largest market anyway, pre-pandemic? So okay, so not that much of a shift. So now we come back to your brand proposition, right, which is experience amplified, and it was launched years ago, actually, right? So it's basically 3 principles, which is bold, indulgent, and exhilarating. And I suppose bold was most necessary during COVID. And was it this thinking that led to the creation of the hybrid broadcast studio last August? Like you were the first?
Yeah, look, I think obviously the last 20 months has been a challenge for everybody. There's no question. Similarly for us as well, as the pandemic hit and we had to kind of shut our doors, the first thing we did was create 40-odd task forces on property. And the focus of these task forces really was on ensuring that we have the right response to the pandemic, as well as taking the opportunity to look at growth. Because we did realize that as we come out of this, the way people are going to expect, or things they're going to expect from us is going to be very different, is going to look very different. So the hybrid broadcast studio certainly is a great example of the team thinking about the future and thinking about what events are going to be in the future as well. So they very quickly started out thinking about how they would present events, and the hybrid broadcast studio was born in August 2020. And ever since then, you know, adding new technology, you've got holograms, for example, mixed reality, and now obviously the virtual meeting place, which you talked about a little earlier.
But also this room, which has been repurposed, you know, and the panels, you know, coming down. I mean, that's pretty cool. We wanted to try holograms, but couldn't make it work in time. So, and then you've got this virtual meeting place, which you've launched, right? And do you then see that as a revenue generator, you know, on top of your physical venue?
Yeah, it's funny. In fact, Vimal and I were just talking about that a little earlier as well. And we certainly see it as an add-on. It's not an either-or sort of situation. I think hybrid events are there to stay. And the virtual meeting place certainly is a new way of delivering content. It's at the end of the day, you know, we talked about this earlier. Now everyone is going to keep traveling for every event, particularly if it's conferences. You will have some people that will want to consume content online. If you can have that in a virtual meeting place instead of the physical, which you can replicate real-life experiences in and consume content on demand, I think that's a winner. So that networking, content consumption, and being in a real-life-like environment, that makes it a lot more exciting.
Okay, so we talked about the events industry, but how has marketing and distribution changed for you this period? Are you seeing a lot more direct bookings? How do you think it will change post-pandemic?
You know, as I said earlier, I think the way we all think and live changed, and so the way we're marketing and communicating to people has also changed. I think earlier this morning, on one of the panels, you talked about irrational buying behavior. There was also concepts with James, you were discussing revenge spending, revenge travel. So I think what people are doing now is really thinking about the now and what really matters to them and living for the moment. And what we're doing now is capitalizing on that and creating experiences on property, as well as communicating those experiences virtually to people with content. You know, we're asking people the question, literally, what do you live for? And that is allowing us to understand if someone says, it's adventure that I'm living for, we will be able to show you how you can experience that at MBS. So that's one of the ways in which we're doing it. We've also, over the years, focused a lot on building a strong database. And if there was any time, it's now that has really, really helped us, because having a strong database of customers you can tap into, knowing a lot about them through the use of data and analytics, I think that's something we are ever more focused on, and finding new customers like them.
Right, and so you've got your rewards lifestyle app that you've been absolutely investing in, right? And that's probably brought down your customer acquisition cost?
It has, because what we found is that if you sign on new customers and they can come back a second time, that re-engagement goes up dramatically, and the spend goes up by 14 or 15%. So that's the kind of focus we've got now, and that automatically drives your acquisition cost lower as well.
We've also seen this period that more hotels willing to work with more startups now. Like you have more appetite now to work with startups.
We've obviously seen a bit of startup today, and obviously, STB has been running the startup pitches as well. We have been part of all of those engagement sessions, and in fact, there is one startup that we have finally chosen to pilot with Kotodzna is the name, right? And we are looking to, or we're working on a pilot with them. I think it's really about finding startups that can deliver and solve a real problem, understanding the business that we've got in front of us. For a lot of times we didn't kind of find that, and now we did, so we're trying it out.
Okay, so Kotodzna is solving a real problem, which is multi-language. I mean,
That's
Japanese market, helping you target the Japanese market.
It's in real time. I mean, they're doing Japanese language because that's what they're really good at, but it will expand to other markets as well.
Okay, and so you have more appetite now to work with startups?
We absolutely do. I don't think we ever didn't have the appetite. It was finding the right fit.
All right, okay. So during this period, Maunik, what did you have to unlearn? I mean, you've been in revenue management, marketing, distribution, e-commerce. What did you have to unlearn during this period?
Well, quite simply, past successes. I think with the way things have changed and evolved, past successes aren't going to help you get more successful now because the business has changed as well.
Okay, and what did you have to learn? Well, I mean, what have you learned?
WFH, which is work from home. And
I thought you were going to say something else.
Well, besides that, the millions of new acronyms that we've introduced through COVID, that I think has been a big learning.
What's the most exciting marketing channel that you're watching?
Well, me and a couple of my team members who've actually driven me to think about it closely is it's quite simply the metaverse. That's something we are watching very carefully and hoping to trial it as well.
Okay. What's the most interesting thing that you've read or watched that you might not have otherwise?
Well, for a laugh, it was about people writing obituaries for the travel business. That was kind of what gave me a laugh. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a resilient business, and so it was kind of funny to read people saying it's going to die, and hotel business is going to kind of die, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But more seriously, I think you talked about it again this morning. Revenge everything. That whole concept of revenge spending, revenge travel, for me, I don't think we would have talked about if it wasn't for the pandemic.
Right, revenge investments as well.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to use this moment to announce the winner of my Dream Road Trip Prize, right? Because during the WiT Travel Show, we had attendees who were asked to submit essays on my dream road trip and 3 reasons why. And the winner wins a chance to tell their story in mixed reality at the Marina Bay Sands hybrid broadcast studio. And we have a winner. So Maunik,
we do. I mean, that's quite exciting. Obviously, Siew, you got quite a few interesting stories,
they made me dream about all those
It totally did.
road
I mean, it took me back to the time we started out at the hybrid studio, creating our own experiences. But there was one that really stood out for me, and in fact, Min and myself were discussing this just yesterday. Again, it's someone, we'll talk about her in a second, but wrote about starting in Shangri-La in the Yunnan province, which itself is kind of paradise, and then making your way across the Tibetan plateau through the big Asian rivers, and then ultimately through the course of nature ending up in Xi'an. So that to me was quite an amazing trip. And then along the way, recording those experiences through writing about them, as well as painting about them, which is quite cool as a trip. So Uttara Sarkar Kreese, thank you very much for submitting that. That was a fantastic dream trip. I think, I know soon you want to do it. I want to do that as well at some point. And it's something that we'd love for you, Uttara, to come and record at our studio.
Well, I look forward to Uttara creating this amazing journey at the hybrid broadcast studio at Marina Bay Sands. So thank you so much, Maunik, for your partnership through the pandemic. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.